For more, let's speak to our chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons. Hello to you, Rob. A lot to discuss here. Take us through some of the major achievements.
Well, I mean, this is a diplomatic giant, the diplomatic giant of the 20th century, whether you like him or whether you loathe him. And there are many on both sides of that equation. But if you think particularly to the 1960s, to that period, 1969 to 1977, when he served as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State for the US, not to say that he didn't achieve anything before that, because he did a lot as an academic and as an advisor in various different capacities to the US government. But that was the key period for him. When he came into office, the Cold War was in full spate. The United States was deep into the Vietnam War. There were problems in South America. Israel had just fought the Six-Day War in 1967. It was heading towards the Yom Kippur War in 1973. The relationship with China was tense. Relations with the Soviet Union, very, very tense indeed. He came to power at that time and quickly became associated with what's now known as détente with the Soviet Union, leading to arms disarmament agreements with the Soviet Union. He reopened relations between the United States and China, which had been non-existent since the revolution. Kissinger went to China for the first time, met Mao Zedong and Zhou Enlai, the foreign minister. He managed to pull the US out of the Vietnam War. He didn't get the peace with honor that probably he would have liked to have got, that certainly he would have liked to have got, but certainly he got the US out of the war, got that Nobel Peace Prize you referred to. 1973, with the Yom Kippur War, he was the man who became associated with the new concept of shuttle diplomacy, going backwards and forwards between the capitals of Israel, Egypt, and Syria to get peace, which led to the Camp David agreements a few years later, 1979, when he was already out of office. But he was the man who laid the basis for that. So this is a giant of his times.
What did the critics say?
Well, there is lots there to criticize as well. This is some call him a butcher, some call him a war criminal. He's been wanted by different courts around the world at different sites, different times, particularly in association with what happened in Chile in the 1970s. His policies were to overthrow, effectively, the government, democratically elected government of Chile of Salvador Allende, a communist. Kissinger wanted him removed simply because he was a communist, because he had very close relations with Cuba. And this is what he had to say about getting rid of Salvador Allende in 1973. I don't see why we need to stand by and watch a country go communist due to the irresponsibility of its people. He had little regard, in other words.
Rob, you interviewed him in 2009. I just want to play a clip from that real quick.
The parallel is the potential opposition within the United States. And having gone through the Vietnam War, one has to face this fact. You cannot fight a war if a very large percentage of your population is determined to stop it.
Rob, what did you take away from that interview?
The standout for me, I think this is the fact that it's what's called the Kissinger approach to diplomacy. He's a realist. When he sees that the odds are stacked up against him, as he was saying there, that the American people no longer supported the war in Vietnam. Therefore, the United States had to get out of that war. The United States had to find an honorable peace, what's called the Kissinger Doctrine. That's what he is most associated with. Realism in politics, realism in diplomacy.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. Rob Parsons, our chief foreign editor.